Why did some Muslims fight for the Nazis? During World War II, various factors influenced some Muslims to collaborate with or join the Nazis, especially in regions where the Axis powers gained control or sought support. Some Muslims saw the Axis powers, particularly Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy, as potential allies against colonial powers such as Britain and France. Anti-colonial sentiments and a desire for independence from European rule led some to view the Axis as a means to achieve these goals. The Soviet Union was viewed by some Muslims as an oppressor or a threat, as the Soviet Union was communist, especially in regions with Muslim populations that were part of the Soviet Union. The Nazis exploited this sentiment, particularly in areas like the Caucasus and Central Asia. Nazi propaganda efforts targeted several populations, including Muslims, spreading false narratives about shared goals and interests. Propaganda materials often depicted the Axis powers as defenders of Islam against Bolshevism. In certain regions, local leaders or communities believed that aligning with the Axis powers would ensure protection for their ethnic or religious group. The Nazis exploited these considerations to gain support. Some individuals joined the Axis forces for economic opportunities or as a means of securing resources for their communities. The promise of autonomy or economic benefits could be an enticing factor. In areas under Axis occupation, local populations faced compulsion, threats, or forced to collaborate with the occupiers. This was especially true in regions like the Balkans, where the Nazis established collaborationist regimes. The promise of support for nationalist aspirations was particularly appealing in areas like North Africa and the Middle East. In some cases, Axis powers established collaborationist regimes in Muslim-majority regions. These governments, while not always representative of the broader population, collaborated with the Nazis for various reasons, including the hope of gaining autonomy or protection. During World War II, there were instances of collaboration between the Nazi regime and certain Muslim leaders in various regions. It's vital to note that collaboration was often complex, influenced by local political dynamics, and not representative of the broader Muslim population. Here are a few examples of Muslim leaders who collaborated with the Nazis. Amin Al-Husseini, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, was a notable figure who collaborated with the Nazis. Al-Husseini, a Palestinian nationalist and anti-Zionist, sought support from Nazi Germany in his opposition to British and Jewish presence in the Middle East. He met with Adolf Hitler and other high-ranking Nazi officials in 1941, and during his time in Berlin, he made propaganda broadcasts in Arabic supporting the Axis powers. Al-Husseini was involved in efforts to recruit Muslim volunteers for the Waffen-SS, including the 13th Waffen Mountain Division of the SS Handschar. Rashid Ali al-Gailani was an Iraqi nationalist and served as the Prime Minister of Iraq. In 1941, he led the short-lived pro-Axis government known as the Golden Square in Iraq. Al-Gailani sought support from Nazi Germany and Fascist Italy to resist British influence in Iraq. The Anglo-Iraqi War ensued, leading to the eventual defeat of Al-Gailani's government and the restoration of British control. Another figure named Hajj Amin Al-Husseini, not to be confused with the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, was a Bosniak leader who collaborated with the Nazis. He was involved in the formation of the 13th Waffen Mountain Division of the SS Handschar in Bosnia and Herzegovina. The initiation of Muslim recruitment for the Nazis during World War II was primarily driven by the Nazi leadership, particularly Heinrich Himmler, the head of the SS. Himmler and the Nazi leadership saw the potential to exploit ethnic and religious divisions in regions under Axis occupation or influence to bolster their military forces. Heinrich Himmler was instrumental in forming and organizing various divisions within the Waffen-SS, including those that involved Muslim recruits. Himmler was interested in expanding the Waffen-SS by recruiting soldiers from different ethnic and religious backgrounds. The idea was to create divisions that could serve the interests of the Nazi regime in specific regions. The Nazi regime, particularly through the Waffen-SS, engaged in efforts to recruit soldiers from several ethnic and religious groups, including Muslims, during World War II. The primary aim was to bolster their military forces by tapping into populations in regions they occupied or sought to influence. The recruitment of Muslims by the Nazis can be understood through several key initiatives. Propaganda materials, including leaflets, radio broadcasts, and posters, sought to create a narrative that framed the conflict as a struggle against a common enemy that threatened both the Axis powers and Islam. The most notable example of Muslim recruitment was the formation of specific military units, such as the 13th Waffen Mountain Division of the SS Handschar, 1st Croatian. This division, composed mainly of Bosnian Muslim volunteers, was established in 1943 and operated in the Balkans and on the Eastern Front. Other units, like the 23rd Waffen Mountain Division of the SS Kama, the 2nd Croatian, also had a significant Muslim presence. These divisions were intended to serve the interests of the Axis powers in regions with Muslim populations. Amin Al-Husseini, born in 1895 in Jerusalem, embarked on a tumultuous journey that would see him become a central figure in the Palestinian nationalist movement and later, controversially, collaborate with the Nazis during the Second World War. In 1916, he became involved in the Arab revolt against the Ottoman Turks, aligning himself with the forces led by Sharif Hussein of Mecca and his son Faisal. This rebellion aimed at establishing an independent Arab state. However, the post-war settlement did not fulfill Arab aspirations, and the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate to administer Palestine. Al-Husseini's disappointment with the outcome fueled his commitment to Palestinian nationalism, leading him to play a significant role in shaping the political landscape of the Middle East. In 1921, Amin Al-Husseini was appointed Grand Mufti of Jerusalem by the British authorities, a position of religious and political significance. However, his nationalist fervor soon clashed with the British mandate, and he became a vocal opponent of British rule in Palestine. During the 1936-1939 Arab Revolt, Al-Husseini played a key role in organizing resistance against British authorities and Jewish settlements. His involvement in the revolt led to increased tensions, and he eventually fled to Iraq to escape British arrest. The meeting between Amin Al-Husseini, the Grand Mufti of Jerusalem, and Adolf Hitler took place on November 28, 1941, in Berlin. Amin Al-Husseini had sought refuge in Germany after fleeing British authorities in the Middle East. The meeting between the two figures was a significant moment that symbolized an alliance between certain Arab and Muslim leaders and the Nazi regime. There are no confirmed quotes of Hitler regarding Muslims or the religion of Islam, but according to the Wall Street Journal, Hitler said, "It's been our misfortune to have the wrong religion. Why did it have to be Christianity, with its meekness and flabbiness? Islam was a MENA religion, a religion of men, and hygienic too. The soldiers of Islam received a warrior's heaven." During the meeting, Amin Al-Husseini and Hitler found common ground in their opposition to the British Empire and Jewish presence in the Middle East. Hitler expressed sympathy for the Palestinian cause and anti-British sentiments, aligning with Al-Husseini's nationalist and anti-Zionist goals. Following the meeting, Amin Al-Husseini became an active propagandist for the Axis powers, particularly in the Arab world. He made radio broadcasts and issued proclamations, encouraging Arabs and Muslims to support the Axis against the Allies. Although the Axis lost the Second World War, in May 1945, at the end of the war, the Muslim division, also known as the 13th Waffen Mountain Division, surrendered to the British forces in Austria.